everybody. This is Ms.Radiant, aka Tiffany. This is my husband here, and we're gonna tell you the story of how we met. Okay? So, I was born and raised in Poughkeepsie, New York, and we met at the bowling alley, the only bowling alley in Poughkeepsie. He called me the same day. I never gave him my number, so I don't know how that happened. Stalker status. No, I don't know how that happened.
The hustle is real.
But he asked me out, and I didn't really know him. So I was a little like, I'm sorry, I don't really know you. And that was the first denial of many.
First of many. So what happened was, I called her up. She was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, "It's Marquise from the bowling alley." "Oh, hey, how you doing?" "I'm doing good. Your day's going great?" Yeah. You know, all that good stuff. So basically, I want to get to know you for the purpose of making you my girlfriend. Cricket. Well, actually, you know, I'm kind of in a relationship with someone else. Oh, okay. Well, we can be friends then.
No, I didn't say that. I turned him down, but maybe I did. I don't know. Anyways, so what years did you ask me out?
What years? Yeah, you heard that, right? Years, plural?
So,
2005 was the bowling alley.
2005, 2000.
That had to be like 2004.
2004 or 5.
And definitely 2008.
And 2008.
For sure. So like maybe 5, 6, and 8. 5, 6, and 8.
5 was at the bowling alley. 6 was...
I'm pretty sure I just called you again.
And then 7 was when?
2007 wasn't 2007, it was 2008.
2008.
And that was somewhere, it's probably like chilling after school.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that was a little bit before Valentine's Day.
It was right before Valentine's. It was like maybe a week before Valentine's Day, a week and a half or something like that. So but like January,
those different segments of different times that he asked me, and I was either otherwise engaged or not really trying to have a boyfriend or whatever.
She wasn't trying to have me as her boyfriend. That's the whole truth.
And anyways, so no, I wasn't trying to have him as my boyfriend. Honestly, I wasn't, because so my dear husband, y'all see him on here, you know, he's very suave and cool, but he wasn't really suave then.
Oh. No. Nonsense. I have always been a smooth dude. Always.
No, he was, okay, it wasn't that he wasn't suave. He was just very peculiar.
It was different. I was very direct.
And direct for our age. Like, I want to get to know you for the purpose of making you my girlfriend. And I was looking at him like,
I'm going to beat around the bush for her. And this,
okay.
Oh, I'm about to run game. Yeah, shorty.
What does that even mean?
What's good, shorty doo-wop and all of that.
My dear husband, however, on the other hand, was not interested in being my friend in order for me to get to know him. He just wanted to go straight to boyfriend.
After we got to know each other, but
he wanted to become boyfriend and girlfriend and then get to know each other.
I didn't want to be her friend. I wanted to be like, I want to get to know you. I wanted to be in the talking stage, as in the pre-going out stage. During
these different times, you know, he would come to my step practices.
You bringing that up.
He would come to my step practices to watch me. And I had no idea.
I was socializing. It happened after school in the cafeteria in a big open space.
I had no idea.
So I would go to socialize and yes, to watch Tiff.
But throughout these different times,
make my move.
We were still friends. And he would come up and see me. He would be like, it was almost like So, all of y'all 90s babies, and baby, please take this for service value, but this is the closest thing I can relate it to.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all 90s babies, right? So, y'all remember Hey Arnold.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's how we doing it?
Anyways.
Who in Hey? No. Go back. Who in Hey Arnold?
So.
Hey Arnold? Hey Arnold.
That's okay. I'm not saying you look like him, even though he does have glasses.
I can't believe this.
Anyways, so listen, baby.
Hey Arnold.
Just listen.
That kid that was always hovering over Helga G. Pataki?
Yes, him. Listen.
How dare you?
Baby. I ain't saying he was like Arthur, looked like Arthur.
Nope, we gonna keep it. Keep rolling.
So that's what I can equate it to. Like, he would come up to me and like, exactly,
hey,
talk about, hey, Miss Johnson. And I'm like,
because that was respect. I was
like,
the only one that was her age. Actually, I was a year older than her, 2 years older than her. I was the only one that she knew that showed her the respect of calling her Miss. Calling her, hey, shorty.
No,
hey, yo,
I didn't
ma.
expect you to call me shorty. Just call me by my first name, Miss Johnson. To me, that was just like, okay, why are you calling me Miss Johnson? Why are you calling me Miss Johnson? I'm like, how old was I? Like 14, 15, 16 years old. I'm like,
who? I'm pretty sure I was doing that. He was like 16.
No, I was definitely.
Nah, you might have been like 15 because I was 17.
And I'm like, Miss Johnson. I can see if an adult said it, like, you know, if you were in trouble or something, they would say, like, Miss Johnson, sit down, or you're late to class or something like that. But just in conversation and as a greeting, like, hey, Miss Johnson, I was like, what kind of...
She wasn't ready.
Anyway, so we would do stuff like that, but I think one year I was like almost flunking chemistry. I was like, science was not my forte and science was his forte, and somehow...
He's also the teacher, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Poughkeepsie High School.
I did better. I think it might have been my participation, something. But I got a really low grade, and I have not gotten that grade in like... forever. So I was a little distraught, like, okay, I need to find some help. And somehow we connected, and I don't know if I saw you in the class or...
Pretty sure I had a free period that period.
Yeah, so he was in the class.
The year before.
He was in the class.
So I would always come through, hey, what's up, everybody?
Just so happened.
And also I had experience with that teacher and knew that she really didn't do much teaching, so all the chemistry I learned was basically self-taught. Understanding the plight of my fellow high school students,
right.
I graciously and generously and selflessly took my free period at the end of the day and went, as a senior, and went to help the juniors out in chemistry.
Right, so he would come and he helped me out. So outside of these different times, it wasn't just like, you know, or whatever, leave me alone.
Did you do the Hey Arnold vibe?
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was, we became more friends over the years, but he wasn't, you know, really willing to sort of do, just sort of happen over time. And we became friends. And then my junior year, his senior year, we went to, that's funny, we have the picture up, but we went to the masquerade ball together. And that year, he actually didn't ask me out. He thought about it, but he thought I was dating someone and I wasn't at the time. Anyways, all of that dating nonsense.
Don't take people's word for stuff.
Let me just put this plug in there for all of you young ladies that will watch this, that are in maybe high school, your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade.
College. Even
some of college. College, I could sort of see you getting more serious with someone because you're really looking towards the future at that point. But high school dating, if you cannot do it, if you can muster up the energy and just the willingness or willpower, if you will,
endurance,
and the endurance to not do it, just don't waste your time. I don't know if you know the number, but the statistics for people that date in high school that actually get married, I can assure you, is very, 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 very low. But don't waste your time. I realize there's a lot of emotions, a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort went into something that, number one, wasn't gonna last. And not only was it not going to last, it was not good for me. It wasn't good at all. The purpose of dating and courtship is to date the person that you are going to spend the rest of your life with.
With the intent.
Marry. And I mean, you know, some people will say, well, how are you supposed to know? That's the point. You're not supposed to know. Because there are things that come along.
Jesus.
Right. There are things that come along with dating and getting close to someone like that at a young age, you're just not ready in a lot of instances to, I guess, resist and to keep, you know, yourself from and those different things. So if you could just not waste your time, not waste your energy, emotions, and yes, some ladies, tears for these boys, it's just like, and for all of my mid 30s and late 30s, early 30s, please comment below in the sections to tell them that I'm telling the truth. Like, if you look back and it's like, why did I date this person and that person? Okay, I was just bored. I didn't have nothing else to do. You know, everybody else had a boyfriend, so I got one too. I promise you, if you do not date in high school, you will not regret it. If you do date in high school, 9 times out of 10, you will regret it. And even if nothing terrible happened, you'll just look back like, okay, why did I waste my time?
Waste of time.
Why did I waste my time?
You gotta wait on the Lord. To all the young ladies out there and all the young gentlemen too, I will tell you what I told my students at Falcon Christian Academy and Freedom Christian Academy in North Carolina. Dating at your age is pointless. Sorry. Not sorry. But it is. We as humans, especially at that developmental age, well into our 20s, and this is the rule, not necessarily exception. I'm sure there are exceptions out there, but even myself, I'm not an exception to that rule. We have a tendency, and I honestly, most adults do too, to make lists based on our preferences first and then our needs second. Right? So we will cleave to and reach for the things that we want. After some contemplation, we begin to consider the things that we need. Somebody asks you, what would you do with $1 million? I'm traveling the world. I'm going to buy me a Bentley. I'm going to do this. And then you start thinking, oh, wait, I got student loans. Oh, wait, I got a bill next week that's due. Then it'd be nice to pay that whole thing off completely. I'm going to get debt free. You know, I'm going to buy my mama a house. You know, we start thinking about those reasonable or practical things after the fact. But the first thing we reach for is our wants, right? We do the same thing when we make lists for people. Oh, what you want your husband to be like? Child, he got to be handsome and tall, and he got to have some money, girl. Or what you want your wife to be? Man, she got to cook. She got to be fine. She got to have long hair, green eyes, light skin, la 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 la. Trustworthy and honest and integral and wholesome and humble. Those kinds of qualities are usually at the end, or we only say those in Bible study, you know, in like the premarital class or at the women's retreat or the men's retreat, something like that, when we want to have a biblical answer. But most often, they have to be saved and love Jesus more than they love anyone else. Is not one of those qualities, or it's not at the top. They have to push me closer to God and away from my flesh, or push me out of my comfort zone. That's not one of those things. And so then because of that, especially at that age, you're not in a position or a posture to even understand what you need in a relationship.
Yeah, that's true.
Not only that, But more often than not, because that is the case, it has been scientifically proven that at that stage, psychologically, the human mind tends to make what is immediate the biggest and most important thing, period. The bad grade that you got was like the end of the world, right? You get a bad grade in college, it's like, oh, I'm gonna just talk to the professor, see if I can get it up. I'm gonna do some extra credit. Not that big a deal. Or I'll do better the next class or the next semester or whatever, blah, blah, blah. This breakup is like the worst. Or I can't believe this person was mean to me, didn't speak to me in the hallway. We're not friends anymore. My world is crushed. Now it's like, oh, well, maybe they had something going on, you know? And by now, I mean 10 years after high school. Well, the same is true for relationships. It's, oh, you know, I'm happy, I'm in love, so I'm gonna make this person my world. They're my everything. I don't know what I'd do without you. Every moment I'm gonna call you, text you, you know, your pictures is gonna be on all over my social media. Well, what happens when you make that person your everything and then you lose them? You feel as if you lost everything. You feel like you have nothing left. And that's why suicide rates are crazy high among teenagers. It's because they feel like their entire world is gone because of X, Y, and Z. It's not really until you get into 22, 23, 24 where you have a better perception. You've lived longer, you've seen more of the real world to be able to prioritize. I say that to piggyback on what my beautiful and amazing wife, Tiffany, aka Ms.Radiant, has said. If you can stand it, it will not harm you to refrain from dating in high school. Focus on your books. Focus on developing that relationship with God.
But I realized that a lot of standard, I guess, fast forwarding a little bit, as far as us getting married, was me increasing that standard and not basing it off of, oh, you know, he looks like this, or he's in sports, or he's doing this or doing that. Whatever we base, you know, our list off of the person that we feel like we should date. When I went to college in Florida, that list became very, it became much longer, and it didn't have anything to do with looks. Well, I'll just say looks. It did have to do with activities because I was very particular and very specific. They couldn't go to the club. You wasn't going to the club. And if I knew you went, that automatically you out. That might sound picky. That might sound, you know, some people is like, okay, I don't mind if they go to the club. Just give me a boo. Just give me somebody that is marriage material. My whole point is that a lot of the standards that I had set had knocked out a lot of foolishness and nonsense. He had a relationship with Christ, and I wanted somebody that was going to push me closer to God. And when I met him, it's like, okay, I love talking about God. I'm going purely off of the love that God put within me for him. That was the knowledge. That was basically the knowledge that I had of God was his love. That's good. that was the knowledge that I had. But God allowed my dear husband to come into my life to give me the practical side of it. That's the right word? Okay, the practical side of it, and in a lot of senses, the application. So, yes, I said all that to say, raise your standards. You want somebody, you know, that loves you, and if you're not saved, accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior. You know, bring him into your heart, into your life, and read his word and pray. And
that'll inform your list and your decisions and your criteria.
There you go. But my list was very specific, and I realized, and at this age, y'all think I'm talking about 21, 22. No, I was 17 when I thought this. You know, at this age, or 18, and I was like, okay, because we got married when I was 19. Right, that story has nothing to do with the later years.
That has nothing to do. That's just high school. We didn't even get to college.
Right, because we
hey.
But what was I saying? Maybe.
Wait a minute.
So I had this train of thought at 18.
Yeah.
And it was very specific, and I had it, and I wasn't looking for anybody. This is what I expected. And maybe if there was a prospect, if they had this going on and it wasn't, okay, you doing this, you doing that. And I didn't actually write it out, but it was deeply ingrained in my head. You know, you were doing this, you were doing that, then you were completely out of you were out. Like, you voted yourself out. And I made sure I stuck to it. And at that point, I'm like, okay, at this point in my life, I need to really chase hard after God. In the words of our chief apostle, chase hard after God. And that's what I did. So when we started, we were friends at that point, finally. When we started actually talking, when we actually started talking,
talking
and courting, it was, well, more talking. We wasn't courting as soon as we was talking. We was talking almost. And then we were courting. It was like, okay, I automatically knew,
late September,
like those things in that list. It was like, okay, I almost need a new list. Like, he checking all of these off, and you know, so it was awesome. So don't be afraid to have standards for the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Like, you're going to have to live with that decision. And I mean, yes, there's divorce, but
that's a hassle.
That's a hassle.
And expensive.
Yeah.
And it takes time.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be right, that means you can't do nothing while you're going through the divorce until the divorce is final. And that can take up to 5-6 years.
Right.
So.
Yes. Rewind to 2009. I left to go to school. He went to the military in 2010.
Early 2010.
Early 2010. And I remember, you know, that summer, I was dealing with a few things, and it's crazy how God set you up, because I was dealing with a few things, and honestly, I didn't really have any other friends around me that had the knowledge of God and what to do in certain situations. But with certain things that I was dealing with, I would call him and tell him, you know, hey, I'm dealing with this, or I'm dealing with that. And he would, you know, talk to me, and I'm like, yes, I can talk to him about stuff, because he's not going to give me a shallow response or a shallow answer. So that was my experience with him at that point. And then I think I went away to school. I invited him to my going away party, but he was already gone away.
I was already gone. I was in San Antonio, like basically just starting tech school at Joint Base, Lackland, something, San Antonio. Yeah.
So he was there. So obviously he didn't come. But when I went to school, I remember vividly, there was like a few people that, you know, I had just met that became my close friends at the time, and he was one of them. So I would talk to him about stuff. I wasn't talking to them other people about God, really. They was just, I don't know what we was talking about.
Hangout buddies.
Yeah, I guess. But I would talk to him about God and ask him different questions and stuff like that, and we just came really, really close. And then I was dealing with something really, really like crazy in school, just foolishness. But I had asked him something, maybe what I told you what was going on, or
yeah. I remember getting a call from you on my way. I believe it was on my way home. And so it was probably somewhere around like maybe the late 2, early 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I knew that I was about to go to a formation that we did at the end of the day. People in the military, you probably know what I'm talking about. So we were going to the end of the day formation. I knew that I didn't have the time to deal with the topic of the conversation, not adequately. And I was on a bus in transport to the other side of the base around a bunch of people. And it was definitely the kind of conversation you don't have around a bunch of random stranger people.
right.
So I gave her my mother's information, who was in Poughkeepsie still at the time. Shout out to you again, Chief Apostle Vanessa Kelly. That's right. I could hear her voice. But I gave Tiffany her information and said, definitely connect with her. She will be able to help you, and not just help and speak life into you, but like so much more than I would be able to at this time, or just period.
Yeah.
And I hung up and I left it in the hands of God.
Right. And I called.
Oh, that. Oh, there's that.
Yeah, I called his mom. Hey, Ma.
Hey, Ma.
Yeah, go check out her channel.
The Radical Voice.
The Radical Voice. But I called his mom and what happened? I told her what was going on. You know, I was dealing with these different things, and you know, she's like, okay. And then she prayed for me or whatever, and the prayer was like, I don't know how long. It was not a
mamby-pamby prayer.
And it wasn't a mamby-pamby prayer.
It was some power on that thing.
It was power. And you know, she prayed and stuff. So I'm like, you know, okay, I'm thankful, you know, okay, God, you know, you get some prayer after dealing with a situation. It's like, okay, you're renewed, you have a different perspective, you feel strengthened. So after that prayer, she said to me, you know, you're my daughter-in-law, right? And I was like, just like almost nervous energy, laughing, like, okay.
What do you say to that?
What is this lady talking
about?
What
do you say to that? You know, you're my daughter-in-law.
And I think for me, from that aspect, it was a little ironic and insane because at the time he was seriously otherwise engaged.
Seriously, like literally otherwise engaged.
Right, seriously. So I'm like, okay, this is not possible. This is not, you know, I don't see how that's happening. And I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, you see the movies. I'm like, maybe this is from the place of, you know, I want you to marry my son. You know, you see those kind of movies where, you know, parents try to hook their children up. No, that wasn't this kind of situation.
No, she was serious.
She was serious.
And
and not like, oh, I want you to be my daughter-in-law.
Like, this is what's going to happen.
You're going to be my daughter-in-law. And I was like, okay. So I got off the phone with her and I'm like.
She called me.
What?
Not before. Tiffany called me too, but before Tiffany called me, my mother called me. And I had, like, literally when she called, I just got back to my dorm room. And at that point in my tech school season, I had the dorm room to myself, thank the Lord. So I didn't have like a roommate or anything. And I had just settled in, got the call from her. Hey, just want to let you know I talked to your friend Tiffany. I prayed with her. She's doing well. I need to tell you something, okay? When I was talking to Tiffany, this is what I told her. You're gonna be my daughter-in-law. Huh? I'm like, Mom, what are you saying to me right now? What do you mean? She was like, yeah, I told her that what he got going on right there.
Right. That is it. That is what she told me.
I said, what do you mean you told her that what I got going on ain't it? Huh?
Yeah.
Like, so then she was like, yeah, I just wanted to give you the heads up. I don't know if you called while I was on the phone with her.
Okay.
Or like shortly after. It was immediately, it was the same day and it was already in the evening.
I think I called you like, I really got to tell you what your mom just said.
So it was probably like right after I got off the phone with my mother.
And at this point, we were already like best friends.
Yeah, right. We were best friends, but not like best friends. We were not the best friends like, oh, I'm saying we best friends, but really we got benefits, or really we being extra.
Right.
We don't want nobody to know. We was legitimately
that wouldn't
good
even
friends.
Been so.
No, because I was in San Antonio and you were in Daytona Beach.
Yeah, I was in Florida at the time.
But the point is, even our conversations, I'm saying that wasn't even, you know, these days people slide into DMs. Back then it was sliding into Uvu, sliding into Skype.
No
you know
way.
what I mean? That was pre-Instagram. We weren't having no crazy conversations or anything like that. It was just, we were really good friends.
Right.
This is probably the first time since I met her that I wasn't trying to not be her friend. Right?
Right.
Because as she said, I was otherwise engaged.
Right.
So I'm like, Mom, what are you saying to me? What are you talking about right now? So I get a call from Tiffany, and Tiffany, I'm like, Lord Jesus, I don't even know how you have a conversation like that. It's like, And I don't do awkward. And by awkward, I mean, I don't allow myself to feel awkward. I choose not to feel awkward. Everybody else can feel awkward, but I'm going to be comfortable in my own skin. That's my personality. Feel free to take that for yourself. That was like one specific conversation. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. So she called and she told me what my mother said. And I was like, I don't know. I don't even know that I said, did I say I'm sorry?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't specifically recall if I said I'm sorry.
I think you were just outdone.
But I'm just like, I can't believe she said that.
I think you were just outdone, and I thought it was hilarious.
But it wasn't like, we didn't even talk about it like, well, what do you think? Is this a thing? Or,
no.
Well, what are we gonna? It wasn't like, oh, she said this, so we're planning.
No, but it definitely planted
like
a major seed.
Well, yeah.
It definitely it
she
planted
was speaking
a major,
to our spirits.
Yeah, she was speaking to our spirits. It planted a major seed because before that point, like, I remember that June before we started dating and you called me, you were talking to me about some stuff you were dealing with. And I was like, yeah, like going in, like, are you okay? And really listening, like, just engaged.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying a lot, but I remember, like, I left all the people that I was with to listen to what you were saying. And so I remember going, like, dealing with that. And then later that October, well, you asked me out again and I said, but
right,
later,
so that's after.
Right, but later.
Oh my goodness. So we didn't count that in all the years.
No.
So 2005, 2006, 2008, 2010.
Right.
Craziness.
Anyways, it planted, a seed because before that, like, we were friends. And like you said, you were otherwise engaged.
Right.
My brain was not thinking, oh, you're otherwise engaged, but I'm still gonna grab you up.
No. And my mind wasn't thinking I'm otherwise engaged, but ooh, maybe there's finally hope. I was like, Mom, I'm not gonna be crazy or stupid and say you miss God. But I don't know what you're talking about. You got to be talking about a different language. Maybe she gonna marry my brother. Because
what?
I don't know. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
It made no sense.
It's
like I don't even have an analogy.
It was like breaking my reality in my brain.
Yeah, because
what are you saying to me?
I guess that's what apostles do.
They break your reality.
They break your reality.
They break your reality in your brain.
In your brain.
Ugh.
But time went on, and that seed was watered.
That seed was watered.
It was watered well.
Somebody put a heat lamp on it. So the otherwise engaged became nothing.
Obviously.
It became nothing.
Anyways, that's a whole nother story, guys.
But
so that November we started dating.
Oh no. Go back to we also had this conversation while we was talking, because at that point, because of life and because of things she dealt with in her life, it's just like, you know what? I'm totally done with dating. I'm done with it. It's about to be me and Jesus. I said this out of my mouth. The very next young lady that I date will be my wife.
Were we talking at this time?
Yes.
Okay, we were talking.
We was totally talking. This is the end of September, beginning October. I was about to go to survival training and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff in the woods.
Yeah.
The point is, I was at that point. I was fed up with the dating and the cycle and the, ooh, you like me? Ooh, I like you. Ooh, we talking and then we dated and then stupid, petty craziness. So I'm like, the next one is my wife, period. And she was like, push her up. The next one I date is going to be my husband.
Even though we were talking.
Even though we were talking.
We're talking about each other.
Right, but it's just like, whatever. And I'm like, okay, so you know.
Right. And then October, he asked me, and I was like, okay, I'm not ready.
Right, that was after I got back from the woods.
Don't put nothing crazy in the comments. Okay, but the next month.
Crazy in the comments.
But the next month.
I just got back from the woods, y'all. I saw a moose. A moose.
The next month, I redeemed myself. I finally bagged him.
Oh, whatever. What I said when she said no, I was patient. I was just like, we'll bump you then. We could just be friends for the rest of our lives, whatever. No, I didn't do that. After she said, she didn't say no. She was like, no, player. She was like, well, I don't think I'm ready at this time. I just want to continue doing what we're doing and growing closer to God, and can't really argue with that. So I was like, okay, well, my answer is yes, whenever you're ready. And that was with the knowledge that if I make you my girlfriend, then I am in essence saying I'm going to marry you afterwards, based on what we said. I'm a man of my word. So I was just like, the invitation is open. Just whenever you're ready, just say so. I sound mad thirsty. But I was. But that's okay because Jesus filled me. He gave me a gift. Y'all see my beautiful gift. Okay. My tall glass of water. Come on.
So,
anyway.
We started dating November 25th on Thanksgiving.
2010.
Of 2010, and then we got married on March 2nd of 2011. How does it feel being married to me?
I gotta be very careful how I answer this because I'm like, I could say something to be funny right now, but I'm gonna pay for it later. Okay. I'm gonna say that marrying you after deciding to follow Jesus for all my days and with everything I have, marrying you was the best and easiest decision I ever made. It was logical. It made sense. I love this girl to pieces, and she challenges me, which a lot of people didn't do. She challenges me to stretch beyond my capacity in basically every way. In the military, intellectually, educationally, occupationally, socially, emotionally, financially, spiritually, in every other lee. She stretched me. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta make her my wife. I have to absolutely tie her down and bag her for sure. I'm not letting no. We're not doing this. Oh, we gonna date for 5 years and then we break up. Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna marry you. That was it.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I've learned a lot of things. I've grown so much. God has used her as a tool to sharpen me in ways that no one else can. And husbands, you will understand that. And wives too, that God will use your spouse in a way that no one else can to get to you, to sharpen you, to show you the areas you're immature in, to show you the areas you need to grow in, and that you need to build up. So it's been amazing. She's been an absolute asset to my life, and she's made being me easy.
Aww. Okay, what are 3 words to describe our marriage?
Oh, man. 3 words to describe our marriage. Mold breaking. That's 1 word. It's hyphenated. Trend setting. Anointed.
Anointed.
Yes, our marriage is anointed.
I agree.
Well, hold up. Go back to the first question.
Okay, the first question.
How's it been being married to me?
Oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
Really? No, it's been awesome. A lot of the same feelings as far as growing and pushing and maturing. And in the same ways that he feels like I pushed him, he's definitely pushed me without pushing me. I think it's not like a competition. You shouldn't be in competition with your spouse. But when you see your spouse doing something else, or that they are good in a certain area, it should make you want to do better. So there are a lot of things, I think, educationally, spiritually, that I gleaned from him. Because of the education. So, I love school and, I love learning.
School. Yeah.
But he has a gift of knowledge. So I'm like, okay, I love school, I love learning, but I don't necessarily have a gift of knowledge with just education and life and everything. I mean, God gives me wisdom and insight, but a gift of knowledge, just Snapple, hey, what about this? Well, I was researching, or I remember when I was 7 and I looked, I'm like, okay. So there was more like there was more that I realized, okay, that I needed to learn, that I could learn, in ways that I can go about looking at things and taking my time to really look and observe things that I really didn't do before we got married. It was like I didn't take the time, but he made me take the time because that's what I needed to grasp it. He didn't need to take the time, but I took the time because I knew, okay, I need to grasp this way, or take this in this way. So let me take the time to look at it. He showed me that I could be, yeah, you get all A's, but do you really remember the information? Did you really soak it in? So he showed me in that way specifically that I could be so much better. And I have gotten much better. Like, I'm like, ooh, like, that was pretty intelligent. But that's not all. I mean, just, I'm thankful for a husband that I can trust. I don't have to question his loyalty, his honesty, his integrity. And that's most of all because of his relationship and connection to God first. That's why that was very important to me. Is like, oh snap, I didn't realize that was important, but it was important because if he's accountable to God and he loves God, then he's gonna be accountable to me, and he's gonna love me. So I'm thankful for that. So it's amazing just having that trust, that knowledge, the understanding, the transparency that we have is amazing. Like, sometimes I really look, some of the things that I've shared with him about myself, how I feel, things that I've gone through, and he's just like, okay, well, this is how I dealt with that, or, you know, okay, I'll pray. And his reaction or response to me, never different, never looked at me different, never changed. I don't feel like I have to hide from him who I am or how I feel. I am 100% transparent. Like, and he allows me to be that way. He allows me to be myself. Aww. And he allows, wait, how do you say it?
They can't see your finger, but it's
and how you say it? It makes you being you makes me being me easier. You didn't say that though.
But that works.
3 words to describe our marriage: hilarious.
Yeah.
I say unique. Loving.
Oh.
What do you think about that?
I like
Hilarious, unique.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Anyways, so that's our story, guys. That's how we met. That's how we came to be here. And there's so much in between, in those different events, and the cracks and the crevices of our marriage and relationship. But I am 100% happy that God chose him for me. I love you, boo-boo.
I love you, Snowball.
But that's our story, guys. If y'all have any questions, in the comment section about dating and waiting and courtship and those different things, we'd be more than happy to answer those questions.
And if you'd like us to come back and do a video on how we got married.
Yeah.
And why we decided to get married when we did after, 4 months? 3 months?
3 months and 5 days.
Wow, 3 months and 5 days?
5 days.
Comment below.
Don't
forget to subscribe.
Don't forget to hit the notification. Bye, guys. This is Ms.Radiant signing out, and Mr. Marquis.